If you've clicked this video, you are or were probably just like me and had no idea what you were doing when it comes to mixing your song. I should say that I am no way, shape, or form a professional at mixing. The biggest problem I used to have was knowing which plugin was best for the job, so I basically use all of them. Even the stock plugins looked really intimidating and complex, full of technical jargon that I did not understand as a self-taught producer or musician. But today I'm going to show you an easy solution to all of that, and we're going to be using LANDR's new plugin bundle to do it.
You can see it in my eyes, it's bloodshot. They sip and lean on the side, but I don't rock. Need a medicinal high, if we all gonna die, might as well make it a ride with a pill pop. You can see it in my eyes, it's bloodshot. They sip and lean on the side, but I don't rock. Need a medicinal high, if we all gonna die, might as well make it a ride with a pill pop.
So basically the whole idea here is a dedicated vocal workflow. You have 4 plugins in order and that's it. So first you want to start with tuning with VoxTune, clean your vocals with VoxDeEss, shaping that vocal and adding some character with VoxChain, then adding space with VoxVerb. So here's a vocal take. It's really raw and it needs some love. Let's listen to how it sounds.
Pinot Grigio, fill the glass, yeah. Pill down with the wine, drink fast, yeah. When the Zoloft hit, yeah. Yeah, I really like that. You ain't gotta fight that. Mama told me this a trap right there, yeah. Doctor told me this a rap right there, yeah. But the paranoia creeping, yeah, I really fight that. Till the serotonin lack, then I bring it all right back, yeah.
Really good performance by myself, I do have to say. Now, in a usual case, I would start with VoxTuner because that's going to go to the top of our vocal chain. But in this case, since I have a rap that's not melodic, I'm just gonna go ahead and go straight to our VoxDeEss, which is basically cleaning up those harsh or really bright hiss sounds in your vocal. So I've used a ton of de-essers. We're talking about waves de-esser, sibilants, you name it. But in this case, let's go ahead and add our VoxDeEss after our tune if we were to have tune here. I pretty much always like to start with some sort of preset. So I'm just gonna go with tame sibilants. And from there, we have basically 6 different knobs that we can choose to select from. So we have the amount, the frequency, the range, the ratio, threshold, and speed. Because I'm a big time visual learner, the fact that I can just turn up the amount and pick a frequency and see the change on the spectral analyzer is huge. So if you click on this monitor button, and you kind of dial in where you're trying to cut the vocal, you can hear actually what this plugin is going to de-ess.
Pinot Grigio, fill the glass, yeah.
And this is what's being reduced.
Pill down with the wine, drink fast, yeah. When the Zoloft hit, yeah.
Sometimes I feel like when a plugin makes it really easy for me to dial in a sound, I feel like I need to spend more time dialing in the sound because it's like, it shouldn't really be this fast, should it? Sometimes I'm like, bro, it should not be working this fast. But you can get 95% of the way there with a preset and just the big simple knobs. So this is the moneymaker of the bundle in my opinion. VoxChain is your EQ, your compressor, your saturator, all of that all in one. And now the first thing I did here I pretty much did with all of these different plugins is go to the presets. And in this case, I selected more air because I am a huge fan of bright vocals within reason, of course. And this preset for me pretty much dialed it in instantly. Obviously, I can go in here and make my changes as I see fit, but I love how this got me the majority of the way there.
Pinot Grigio, fill the glass, yeah. Pill down with the wine, drink fast, yeah. Pinot Grigio, fill the glass, yeah. Pill down with the wine, drink fast, yeah.
And you might see terms on here like body, air, low cut, width, and you're thinking to yourself, what does that even mean? So this is what I love. Instead of naming a knob 10 kilohertz shelving EQ, they call it air. You want brightness, you turn up air. You want fullness, you turn up body. It's so much easier to understand. When you think of the body of something, you think of heft. You know, our bodies have all these extremities, but there's a core to us. The same can be applied to our vocals. There is a core to our vocals, and if we want to turn up or emphasize that core, then we would turn up body. Same goes with width. It's, you know, you want to make your vocal sound wider or more narrow, and then low cut, obviously you're cutting the lows. Low cut, right? So for me, when it comes to this, air is a knob that gives a vocal that shine. It's a glimmer. It's like a nice hiss that you're adding, and not in the bad way that you would want to cut it, but the kind that makes your vocal cut through the beat like a knife, like, you know, a knife through butter, right? It just makes it sound more expensive. But with this same exact plugin, you can get pretty aggressive too if you wanted to. So you start to turn up this saturation knob right here and the compression, and you play with how much of the blend you want in that vocal, aka how much of those effects you want applied to that vocal, and you can really make it punch.
You know, grease your fill the glass, yeah. Pill down with the wine, drink fast, yeah. When the Zoloft hit, yeah. Yeah, I really like that. You ain't gotta fight that. Mama.
I also love how there are other things in here, like we have female vocals, vocal clarity, presets for ad-libs, presets for whisper background vocals or clean and lifted background vocals. There's just so many options for so many different scenarios that you would use these for. So for the people that don't necessarily know where to start when it comes to certain aspects of their vocal, whether it's a lead or a background or an ad-lib, you can start with these really simplified presets that are named in a way that anybody can understand. And if you don't exactly like where it got you, then just like any other plugin, you can customize exactly how you want it to sound with these really easy to understand knobs. So for the last step of this particular vocal, we're going to add some space. Now with most of my reverbs, I'm pretty subtle. I usually go for no more than a 20% mix, often around 15% more like. So if we just open up VoxVerb by LANDR here, I'm going to go to my preset that is vocal lead start, and let's see where this gets us.
You know, grease your fill the glass, yeah.
Little subtle
Pill
reverb.
down with the wine, drink fast, yeah. When the
So it just puts us in a space instead of keeping us like, you know, totally dry. I would be happy with either or, like a totally dry vocal here or something that does have a little bit of reverb. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and dial this. Let's see what it looks like at 18% blend.
you know, grease your fill the glass, yeah.
Nah, too much. Let's go down to 10.
You know, grease your fill the glass, yeah. Pill down with the wine, drink fast, yeah.
And then we're going to set the time to about a 2.5 second reverb time. And then we are going to give it a bit of a pre-delay.
You know, grease your fill the glass, yeah. Pill down with the wine, drink fast, yeah.
If you guys know me, you guys know that I'm pretty much addicted to wide vocals. I use it way too much, but here we are. So I am going to narrow it down for the verse here, but when we get into our harmonies, our chorus vocals, I'm definitely going to utilize that with. Let's see what the before and after sounds like on this particular vocal by itself. So this is the vocal before any of the effects were added.
You know, grease your fill the glass, yeah. Pill down with the wine, drink fast, yeah. You know, grease your fill the glass, yeah.
Much better.
Pill down with the wine, drink fast, yeah.
We were able to get there pretty fast with presets and just a few different twists of some knobs. It doesn't take that much work. And that's the best thing about these plugins. It doesn't take a lot of brain power. It doesn't take a lot of musical theory knowledge, if any at all. You just twist and turn a few knobs and you're there. You select a preset and you're there. Now, last but not least, we have LANDR's VoxTune. Now, this is something that normally you would put at the beginning of a vocal change. So our last example, when I was doing the rap, I obviously did not put VoxTune on there because I didn't want my vocal fluttering. I'm not really singing melodically or anything like that. So it was just the vocal by itself. However, when you are singing or if you are rapping melodically, this is the plugin that you want to have at the top of that vocal chain to make sure that you're tuning the raw vocal itself and not the vocal after a reverb or a delay. And it kind of like messes up, you know, when it's trying to tune your vocal after all these other plugins.
You can see it in my eyes, it's bloodshot. Sipping lean on the side, but I don't rock. Need a medicinal high, we all gonna die. Might as well make it a ride with a pill by.
I went to the presets and I went with light tuning. And I keep talking about presets here, and I know a lot of those gatekeepers are gonna tell you that presets are bad. Let's be real, okay? Presets are teaching by demonstration. For a beginner to see how the plugin is set for a pop vocal versus a rap ad-lib versus a background vocal, this is imperative to know. And that's a lesson right there. If you don't know where to start with a preset. There's no judgment. You're the one that's making the music. You can't let people dictate to you how you should be making your music, things like that. That's really the way that I learned, if I'm being totally honest.
You can see it in my eyes, it's bloodshot. Sipping lean on the side, but I don't rock.
There are some major imperfections here and there, and that's really what I'm going to be using VoxTune for in this case. I don't want it to make it sound super robotic. In that case, you would switch this switch right here to modern. That gives you that more robotic feel. But what I've found is that when you switch it to transparent, this is going to be for more natural sounding singing vocals.
Need a medicinal hive, we all gonna die.
Need a medicine. It's like a little slide I did there. So just like tiny things there. What people don't think about or realize, especially if you're a beginner, is that autotune is not just for people who can't sing. You can be Billie Eilish, you can be Beyonce. I guarantee you that even they use some form of tuning on their vocals, because when it comes to studio recordings, you want that vocal to be as pristine and as amazing as possible. Make sure that you set your key. I use this tool right here, Mix and Key Live. I found that the song was in B minor, 83 beats per minute. There's different tools that you can use to get there, but I use Mix and Key Live. So I changed all of my instances to B minor here for the key and the scale. I left the reference where it was. I left this on transparent mode, and then I turned my tuning all the way up just to see, how this is going to sound when we tune our vocal, and I had the amount turned up to 70. So instead of this,
need a medicinal hive, we all gonna die. Might as well make it a ride with a pill pop. Need a medicinal hive, we all gonna die. Might as well make it a ride with a pill pop.
It is on key, but you can kind of hear those like snaps when it snaps to the next key. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn down the amount to, let's say, 50% on both of these vocals. And that should get us something that's even more natural sounding, but still tuned to a good amount.
And if we all gonna die, take a ride. And if we all gonna die, take a ride.
Sometimes the tuning is meant to be very minute. It's meant to be unnoticeable. It's making a difference without it being like in your face, so that people aren't like, man, he really edited the crap out of this song. So I don't know about you, but to me, this difference is pretty clear. And for a beginner, this process could save you a few hours of headaches easily. Now, are there some things that I think could be improved upon? Specifically, yes, with the auto-tune. I think that because this is like the first iteration of this, there is going to be some updates or some work that goes into, dialing it in even more and getting it to sound more consistent and comparable to that of those giants like Antares. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that you need this bundle. I want to just give you the info and let you decide for yourself. I would say getting LANDR Studio, which includes these 4 plugins, this bundle, it's an insane value if you're building your toolkit. So you can at least try it for a month if you want to. You don't have to go for the full year like I do. I have the annual subscription because I know how much I use this stuff, but you can try it for a month. And if you're one of those people who likes to own what you use, I get that too, then the bundle is a solid investment. And I'm gonna leave down in the description below and probably a pinned comment my 20% off discount. But as for my final verdict, this bundle does exactly what it promises. It simplifies the mixing process without dumbing down the results.